What's going on, boys? I'm going to show you where my solo rogue is at and what gear it's wearing, and maybe show you a little few tips and tricks of what's going on. Alright, let's get to it. So, we're rocking the Shadow of Menzo Barenzen, if that's how you say it. It's the helmet that I wear mainly for the style. Like, it looks fucking sick. Like, that's a mad fucking looking style, right? What it does is, it just gives you this, like, ability. It's an action. You can become invisible for 2 turns per short rest. Um, it's decent. I mean, invisibility potions are better, but it's a free invis, and it just looks mad. Second, we're wearing a cloak, right? It just gives you +1 armor class, +1 saving throws. It is just pretty standard. Like, absolutely beautiful. And then you get this chest piece. We get the padded +2. You take 2 less bludgeoning damage. It's probably like the best I got for defense wise right now. I mean, looks fucking sick too. Suits the helmet. These gloves, we've got gloves of the balanced hands. Gives you 2 weapon fighting. What that does is it allows you to add your ability modifier to your offhand weapon. Usually you can't do that. That's actually a fighting style, and rogues cannot get a fighting style unless they multi-class. So being able to have 2 weapon fighting from gear is awesome. So if you see over here, I'll show you what I mean. It says this one, my offhand does 8 to 13, just like my main hand. If I were to take this off and then unequip this, re-equip it so that it resets the interface, it now does 3 to 8. So I'm losing a stat thing there. But there is a glitch with the hand crossbows. Hand crossbows just give you your stats right now. They shouldn't. It is a glitch in the game, but I don't really like glitches as much as the other people, so I like to wear these just to say that I'm not glitching these offhand crossbows. See if I re-equip that. It's got the damage back, but yeah, it'll probably get fixed, I reckon. Hand crossbows are pretty overpowered at the moment, especially because of that, but if you wear the gloves, you can say you're not really glitching, because that's what they would be doing. Would be adding your stats to the offhand. Anyway, moving on. We've got the Disintegrating Nightwalkers. These are really good boots. They make it so you can't be enwebbed and tangled and snared. You can't slip on grease or ice. Slipping fucking sucks. So you definitely want to wear something like these. They also give you a free Misty Step too per short rest, which is always good for escaping, or mainly escaping. That's what I use it for. We'll go down to our necklace. We've got the Amulet of Harpers. Gives you advantage on wisdom saving throws, and also allows you to cast shield once per long rest, which is just a general good defensive to have on command. But wisdom saving throws are 100% the best saving throws in the game to have increased, because most of the deadly abilities are wisdom saving throws, like hold person, becoming paralyzed and all that shit. Underneath that, I have Crusher's Ring, a very early ring you can get. +3 movement speed. It's actually really good. I'm a Wood Elf. As a Wood Elf, you get plus movement speed as well. So stacking the movement speed with your triple dashes as a thief rogue, you can run so fast. It's ridiculous. You can just escape anything. Moving on from that, I have the Caustic Ban. All your weapon attacks will do an extra 2 acid damage. I attack a lot because of how many actions I get. +2 damage. It's like straightforward, +2 damage, taken. Then we'll move down to our hand crossbows. We just have the generic hand crossbow +1s. We haven't found anything better than that so far. I'm playing this game blind through without looking anything up, so I haven't seen any good upgrades yet for these, so we're sitting with these hand crossbows. They're doing very well. The acid damage is applied just from my ring, as you can see there. It tells you +2 acid, and then that 1d4 radiant is coming from my buff down here. I'll show you more about that very soon. And then moving on to my swords, which I don't really use much anymore since I'm a range build now, but these are ridiculously good swords. We'll see our first one here. Knife of the Undermountain King. These are short swords. They're +2, so they're +2 enchantment. So +2 to accuracy, +2 to damage. The special thing about this sword in particular is the Organ Rearranger. It says the wielder scores a critical hit when rolling a 19. So instead of rolling a nat 20, if you roll a 19, you crit. The other stuff on it aren't really that good. I mean, when you roll a 2 or less for damage, you re-roll the dice. That's decent, right? But the main thing about the crit though is I don't know for sure, but from those words I read there, that would mean I could crit on a 19 with my crossbows. If so, then this is 100% one of the best main hand weapons you could get, because if you're critting on a 19 with your range weapons, that is hectic, right? And then my offhand sword, when you crit on a critical hit, the target takes an extra 1d10 necrotic damage, uh, and then you gain 10 hit points, right? Like it's decent, right? But it never really happens because I'm not really a melee build anymore. I'm more of a range build. But these two paired together are pretty hectic, man. And we're looking pretty stylish. I'll move on to my stats and abilities and stuff like that now. So as you saw, my weapons it had the the 1d4 radiant damage increase. I'm going to show you right now how to reset it. We are at the Creche still in chapter 1, but part 2 of chapter 1, when you come in through Trailer Crags, you go all the way down to the Creche, you come up here into this room, and it has a riddle. The riddle is to figure out who holds what weapon. You get each ceremonial weapon from certain spots in this area, and you just gotta place them on top of where they need to go. See, the battle axe goes onto this plaque. The long sword goes onto this plaque. You just throw them on there. There was warhammer goes on that plaque, and then the mace on this plaque. So once you do that, you will get a buff called Morning Lord's Radiance. Once you come back here to reset it, all you gotta do is drag a weapon off, just like that, and then drag it back on. Boom. Morning Lord's Radiance is back and equipped. Absolutely huge. It's the free 1d4 radiant damage. Gives it to your whole party. It is massive. Moving on, we have our notable features. At level 4, we have taken the Sharpshooter feat, which gives us a -5 penalty to our attack rolls, which is our accuracy, but gives us an additional 10 damage to each attack. It is probably a core feature to our build, since accuracy is not the biggest problem for us, as we try to get advantage and we have high attack rolls and just all that kind of good stuff, you know. There is actually a glitch though, still with the hand crossbow, like I was telling you before. The hand crossbow in your offhand doesn't receive the -5 penalty to attack rolls, but still gets the 10 damage. So hopefully they fix that, because it is pretty strong, but it's not the biggest deal because our accuracy is already pretty high. So I wouldn't say it's that bad, but hopefully that gets fixed. Another major notable feature that I'll explain. I'm not going to explain all of this because you don't really need to. It's just telling me what I'm getting from my gear and stuff. But another major one from this list is called Cull of the Week. You get that from your Illithid powers. When you bring a creature down to fewer hit points than your evolved Illithid powers, so the more you spend when you get those little tadpoles and then you use them, it increases the number required for this. So because I've consumed 11, if I get a creature down to fewer hit points than 11, it just automatically dies. It also explodes for 1d4 psychic. So you can set up some pretty hectic chain damage, like you've probably seen in some of my videos with the barrels and just AoE explosions. A lot of the time it procs the Cull of the Week, which will instantly kill them, and then AoE, potentially bringing more Cull of the Week and a big chain clusterfuck. It's fucking sick. So a very good passive to have. This Luck of the Far Realms too, that's also another notable feature. When you successfully attack a foe, you can change the attack to a crit. It's once per day. It is very good for like assassinating something pretty big, or just getting a free crit. Um, what else is there? I got my inventory here. I like to keep a nice, neat inventory, um, like apprentice pack to hold my spell scrolls, backpack for tools, potions, um, items that I might swap to. I do actually have a mage kind of set up here, so I can equip a frost staff and this helmet, crown. It puts my intellect up to 17, meaning I can actually cast and hit things. And this staff gives me Ray of the Frost, so I can actually switch out to like a wizardy kind of build. This one's a fire version of it. Gives me fire spell. Not 100% necessary, but it's nice to swap up because I'm solo, so it's always good to have variety. Use everything you can get. We've also got down here our arrows. We have a lot more stuff in storage too. It's just I like to keep a lower carry weight to be able to carry things. Here's our poisons, our poison pouch. Poisons are very good for this build, like extremely good, because when you apply a poison to a dual wield weapon, it applies to both. So if we were to apply, let's just apply this simple toxin to our weapons, it coats them both, making them deal an extra 1d4 poison damage on a con save, I'm pretty sure. They still take half, but it just get extra damage, you know. You can put them on your crossbows too. See, they both coated with toxins. Very, very powerful if you just stack modifiers. You can drop things pretty quickly, especially with that cold a week Lv8 power. I'll now show you a cool little trick for pickpocketing traders, making the DC a bit easier for you, and just generally just awesome. Ready? You go up to the trader, you have a look at his inventory.
It'll take a while for assault, of course.
Look down his inventory. We want to steal his gold, right? So he has 1,264 gold there. So if we check his DC for his pickpocketing, it's probably something pretty big. See, it's at 17. We've got to roll a 17 or higher to get that. But if we talk to the bloke again,
it'll take a while for assault, of course.
Go into his inventory, and we just hold shift and then drag, we can split up his gold, making it a lesser of a stack. See, now they're only in 300s. Now let's check the DC on those.
If everyone else minds their business, I'll be fine.
The DC 8, which is a lot better than 17. You could even lower the stack even lower if you want. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to equip my pickpocketing gear. See, I have Gloves of Thievery, advantage on sleight of hands checks. I don't actually know if they work for pickpocketing, but I put them on anyway. But we do have the Smuggler's Ring. This definitely works. Gives you +2 to sleight of hands, +2 to stealth, -1 charisma. And then I like to put on a guidance necklace to cast guidance on myself, which will give us a d4 to skill checks. I hope that benefits us too. Again, I don't know 100%, but let's check our DC on these. It is now a DC 6 to steal these. So we'll steal, steal, steal more. We've stolen all his gold, and we are now out of there. With all his gold. It's much better to get multiple low DCs than one big DC. That way you can easily get out with their gold. Or even items too. This works with items. You can split stacks if they want potions and stuff from their inventory. The smaller the stack, the easier the DC. One last little notable tip for assassinating things as a rogue with your sneak attack is that to not actually click on sneak attack and to shoot. A better way of doing it is going down to your reactions and having them ticked on your reaction bars. They don't actually take reactions, but they're just in your reaction bar. So that when you just do a normal attack, it's going to apply sneak no matter what, just as long as you have advantage. The reason behind this is because we are dual wielding. Since we've ticked dual wielding, if I was to click cargo right now, I would shoot both attacks before going into combat. So essentially, what we want to do is, we'll stealth,
Time to scull the
and I'll put on, this is a purple worm toxin, it's pretty big. And you'll see what I mean. So if I was to shoot her right now, I would apply a sneak attack. But if I was to shoot her with just this, it would only shoot her once. Whereas if I do this, it's going to shoot her twice. And I'll show you right now. See that? We just one-shot Karga. Absolutely big dicto. What's she got on her? Oh, she got some shit on her, eh? Yeah, right. But yeah. So when you want to assassinate something, try to just get your sneak on your reactions and don't actually click your sneak attack unless you want to fire one. But usually it's better to just fire two from a normal attack. Just as long as you have advantage, it should sneak attack. Anyway, that's the video. I'm gonna progress to Moonrise Towers. That's where I haven't been. I've pretty much done everything to chapter 2 before going into Moonrise Towers, and I'll probably get some clips on some encounters I have there if they look interesting.